Welcome to Mystic Dragonfly Garden. In my last video, I was trimming up some roses and I discovered a gnarly looking branch, which I knew something was up with that, but I couldn't pinpoint it at the time. And after that video, I looked it up, and unfortunately, that gnarly branch was a sign of Rose Rosette disease. So, there's nothing you can do for Rose Rosette. Once you have it, you need to dispose of the plant. And although I cut it out and I have not seen any further signs of it, I mean, once it's there, it's there. Now, Rose Rosette is caused by a virus, and this virus is transmitted by a mite. This mite is microscopic, so it's not something you can see, and it travels with the wind. So if the wind blows, then it can land on your plant. And if your plant is weak, any rose is susceptible to it, whether it's, something like David Austin or Proven Winners or any type of rose. If it is a rose, it can be susceptible to Rose Rosette. Now, when I looked up on roserosette.org, it mentioned that it is possible that there are a few chemicals that can have the potential to destroy the mite. And one of those chemicals happens to be the active ingredient in 7-Dust or 7 spray. So I'm going to have to watch now all the roses in my garden because it was brought into the vicinity. I don't know if, I saw no signs or nothing weird when I purchased these. And so I don't know if it came with the plant when I purchased them or if it arrived once it got here, which is kind of scary. Now, Rose Rosette, that gnarly looking branch, the witch's broom, that is one of the telltale signs. The other sign is excessive thorniness, which I'm afraid to, I just don't want to admit it, but on the painter's palette rose that I purchased, I am now seeing excessive thorniness on that, and it looks like new growth. New growth can be reddish in tint, but the excessive thorniness is really bothering me, especially when I compare it to my other painter's roses, and I don't see that same type of growth on the stems. I'm going to go ahead and toss that one too, because I have way too many roses for this to spread throughout all the roses in my garden. Now, I did toss that debris in a plastic bag. I did think to do that after my last video when I was getting rid of that, and you saw me disinfect between roses with my tools. However, I did not change my gloves, and that that is something I had heard of Rose Rosette disease, but I'd really not investigated into it because I had no reason to. So it is possible that I infected all of these roses by not changing my gloves, even though I did disinfect my tools in between trimming all those roses back. So sometimes you have to wait 6 months to a year to find out if you have a further infestation of Rose Rosette disease. Now, I have been consistent in trimming my roses back in February, and that is where a lot of the problem stems from. If you have those multiflora roses in the woods, they are where those bugs come from. and I don't have any of that around, so I'm not really worried about that. But they can live in the old buds throughout the winter. So if you don't clean up your roses and get rid of all the dead foliage, trim off the old buds, that sort of thing, then that can be a habitat for those mites to multiply and infest your the rest of your roses. So it's something I'm going to have to keep an eye on in the future. And thankfully, these roses are in pots and they weren't in the garden. I don't have to clean that up. The other unfortunate thing is that they say don't use a leaf blower when you're trying to clean up your roses. And although I put most of that debris in a bucket and then disposed of it in a trash bag and put it in the dumpster, I did use a leaf blower to clean off the porch. So I do have 2 roses that debris could have potentially gone into that flower bed. So we're just going to have to say a prayer, and I am going to, you can have your opinions about insecticides, but I'm going to keep my roses fertilized. Keeping your plants strong can help them fight off disease, so I will keep my plants fertilized. I am going to spray with Sevin Dust, since that does have a chemical in it that potentially has the ability to kill those mites, and just say a prayer and hope that this is the first and last that I see of this Rose Rosette disease. So that's it. That's my disaster that I'm sharing with you, and I hope you never see it in your garden, and I hope that doesn't shy you away from saving plants on clearance. It's just good information to know for the future, and to really study those roses, because you could have paid full price for a rose and still ended up with Rose Rosette disease. So we're not blaming the clearance plants. Things happen, and that's gardening. When you lose one thing, it's just an opportunity to plant something else. So I'm going to bag up these roses and toss them and move forward. For the love of dirt, get outside, enjoy what nature has to offer. Until next time.